Oh shit, can I do it like this? Oh, no you can't. That sucks.
Yeah. You know who I think's rich? That guy that
I
walks
work
around all day in leather. I bet you he's hiding something. He's probably got gold.
Despite the intense curiosity the Leatherman caused, little was known about him. Who was he? Why was he doing this? Now, Ryan, as more answers about Leatherman's life were uncovered, it only led to more questions. So, who is the Leatherman?
Very well. I don't know, who is he?
Now, during Leatherman's stop in Milford, a reporter from the New York Morning Journal reportedly spoke to him in French. This would be the first time people would learn something of Leatherman's past.
Maybe it wasn't that he spoke in French exclusively. He only did that when being spoken to in English. Maybe he did.
It's like when I visit another country, I would go, That's a coffee.
Yeah, it looked like one.
According to the report, Leatherman's name was Rudolph Mossy. Born in Rouen, a small town about 90 miles from Paris, Mossy was a shoemaker. While living in France, he was married, but it was short-lived when less than a year later, his wife eloped with a friend, fleeing to New York City. Can I do that here? In pursuit, Mossy sold his shoe business and set sail to America. It took him 3 years, but he tracked down the man that had stolen his wife in New York. That's right, but it was too late. She was dead.
How did she die?
Well, she had died several months early from death. I don't know what happened.
She got hit by a car, or like, I guess it's 1861 at that point?
Yeah, that's when the leading cause of death was January. And not only that, but she had lived in other towns with other men.
Wow, okay.
And we celebrated her for that. Now, the news of this, understandably, broke him. He lost all ambition, instead dedicating his life to visiting each place his wife was reported to have lived.
This doesn't seem healthy.
But on August 16th, 1884, the Waterbury Daily American published an article which claimed Leatherman was not Rudolph Mossy, but another Frenchman with a tragic love story. Identity too! Jules Bourglet.
Fun name. I hope he wins.
Now, in the 1820s, Jules Bourglet was born to a family of lower middle-class woodcutters. As Jules got older, he fell in love with Miss Margaret Laurent. Deciding he wanted to marry Margaret, Jules approached her wealthy leather merchant father, who rejected Jules' proposal.
Leather merchant.
Interesting. Are the pieces coming together for you?
I'm starting to get a little closer. The tectonic plates in my brain are shifting.
See the fine tools that they work with to make beautiful works of art like this?
Weird that you referred to a beautiful piece of art when you were gesturing towards your crotch.
It's getting real warm in here. At the beginning, it was sort of a joke, but now it's starting to get very, very moist inside of all this.
What the fuck?
And he rejected Jules' proposal. Jules then rejected his rejection and begged for another chance. And he was given an opportunity to prove himself by working in the Laurent family leather business. If he could thrive in the job, he would receive Margaret's hand in marriage. As he raised in the ranks, he was tasked with purchasing leather on the open market. In 1855, Jules made a large purchase, but to his horror, after this purchase, the price of leather fell 40% due to a technological advancement that made tanning much cheaper and less labor-intensive. Sort of an NFT grow of the time.
Yeah, dude. That's a tough break.
His lack of knowledge on what was happening in their industry ruined the Laurent's leather firm, which is honestly pretty fun. A marriage to Margaret was out of the question. Ashamed to return to his home, Jules became a drifter in Lyon, France. Now nobody knows what actually happened to Jules, except for the fact that a person fitting his description showed up in Harwinton, Connecticut in 1862, clad in, you guessed it, leather.
Hi.
Okay, I mean, that doesn't exactly line up with the first sighting of the Leatherman. I feel like if he shows up in Connecticut looking like you, people are going to notice over the course of 4 years. That's a weird gap to account for.
Maybe it took time. It happens once, you think, well, that's weird. Happens again 36 days later. Like,
I'm going to take notice at least after the first 3 sightings.
Would you throw crab apples out?
No, because I'm not nasty, but I'm sure you would.
That was a test. I just want to make sure you wouldn't. Please don't ever do that to me if you see me in this outfit again, because I'm going to be wearing this quite a bit from now on.
Well, I never made any promises about it.
I hope you're ready for identity.
I'm ready.
Ezek.
What?
Sort of sounds like a
Is that one of the
vaping brand.
Is that one of Elon Musk's kids?
That's good. That's good too. Now, on April 2nd, 1885, James Francis Rogers saw Leatherman coming down the road. Now, as Leatherman waited for a meal, Rogers sat beside him, making another attempt to strike up a conversation. This time, it worked better. Leathery, Rogers began, will you please tell me your name? Yes, it is Ezek, grunted Leatherman, grilling him with questions while receiving a series of short 1 to 2 word answers, mostly yeses and nos. Rogers uncovered more directly from Leatherman than almost anybody else, according to Rogers. He discovered that Leatherman was from France, but never wished to return. Ezek had been tramping for 27 years and was currently 68 years old. A zaddy, if you will. Leatherman had given his leather suit a long time ago, but refused to ever take it off to live like a normal person. Now, during their conversation, Leatherman took out an old French prayer book and a rosary, bowing his head in reverence. At that moment, Rogers realized that Leatherman was a religious monomaniac who was, quote, living a life of terrible penance. Even after so many revelations, the only thing that people were sure of was that Leatherman was a Frenchman, walked the same path every month, and, of course, wore Ezek. Which, if he's French, I guess it could be Isaac?
Yeah, I was about to say he could be saying some sort of like name with an accent. Tell me more about Ezek.
That's it.
That's all there is to say about Ezek.
Might have been his name.
But if it's correct, it doesn't help us any more than when we were in the beginning, because it's like Ezek, that's clearly not his like actual name.
Please, eat. I'm gonna become a historical Leatherman reenactor after this, so I'm just practicing. Oh, yes, eat. I think you got a career in it. Eat. Now, in March of 1889, a carpenter from the town of Mount Pleasant named Henry Miller was on a walk with his wife. As they went about their Sunday, she told Henry that she'd like to go visit one of Leatherman's retreats. Miller took her to it. Peeking their head in, Leatherman was asleep. They got closer. Leatherman's hair and beard were matted with blood. His face was swollen and distorted. Old Leathery was dead.
Why was his face covered? Did he get beat to death?
Well, let me tell you. His body was taken to Sing Sing, where Joel D. Madden, MD, and Charles S. Collins, MD, testified, quote, the immediate cause of his death is blood poisoning. It resulted from lupus, which had made frightful ravages in his mouth, almost destroying the lower jaw, and so affected the throat that for a long time before his death ensued, it must have been impossible to swallow anything but liquids. He most likely had been dead for at least 3 or 4 days when he was found. Now, this is just a personal theory, but it seems